Welcome to Morning Message for December the 5th. It might surprise you to hear this, because I do look forward to having turkey dinner at Christmas time. But turkey's actually not my favorite Christmas meal. Hamburger Helper is. I don't even know if they still make Hamburger Helper, but it's my favorite Christmas meal, and let me explain why. There's one Christmas when I was growing up. In fact, I was, if not an adult, very close to an adult. I was driving at the time. One Christmas Day, our plan was to go to Pugwash, Nova Scotia, which is where my dad grew up and where his parents were living. And so we were going to drive as a family to Pugwash and visit my grandparents on Christmas Day. And so our plan was to do that Christmas Day, drive there and drive back and spend some time with them. And then we would have our Christmas dinner on Boxing Day. So that was the plan. So on Christmas Day, we all hopped into the car and we started driving to Pugwash. And we got as far as the Halifax airport before we realized it really was too snowy, too icy, too dangerous for us to continue. And we turned around at the exit that takes you into the airport, and we went back to the house. And there was a snowstorm, as they say, a wicked snowstorm. There was a snowstorm that day, and it kept us trapped. We couldn't go anywhere. Nobody could come and visit us. It was just the family that day on Christmas Day. And of course, the turkey was still mostly frozen, so we couldn't cook the turkey that day. Mom had a couple of pounds of frozen hamburger in the fridge and a couple of packages of Hamburger Helper. And that's how we spent Christmas Day. We cooked up a mess of Hamburger Helper and we played games. I don't remember if it was The Sound of Music or Mary Poppins that CBC played that year. That was on the TV. We colored. We played games. We played with whatever it was we got. We tried on whatever clothes they might have been that we had. We ate candy. We had a nice, quiet time at home with one another. And again, I think this kind of shows one of the reasons why I think that a lot of the trappings that we associate with Christmas aren't really as important as for us in the long run. They might be important in terms of sentimental value, but they're not really all that important. All of that stuff can go out the window. We had an opportunity to be together and to realize that that is one of the significant things about Christmas. This year with COVID-19, Christmas is going to be different for all of us, no doubt. We will have to make adjustments, and we'll have to get used to things that are very different from what we perhaps had hoped for or even anticipated. And yet, even in the midst of that kind of loss, there's still an opportunity for us to create new memories. And, whatever it was we had hoped for doesn't happen. Something else will be there, and it could become a fond and favorite memory for us in the future. It's challenging. It's difficult. There's a lot of reason for us to grieve, but I think even in the midst of that grief, it's important for us to remember that God is present. God is present with us in the midst of all of this. And sometimes I worry that we might be, because of our grief, less willing to experience God's presence. That's where we can come together in terms of being community, reaching out to one another, helping one another to focus on the important things. And like I say, it's not what the Christmas specials tell us they are on television or whatever. It's really got to do with the birth of Jesus Christ, the salvation that he wins for us, the love that God expresses in the person of Jesus Christ, God's expressed word in Jesus Christ, showing us God's love, God's mercy, God's call to justice, God's forgiveness, all expressed in this person, Jesus Christ. My hope and prayer for all of us is that we're able, despite all the reasons to grieve this year, that we are able to find it in our hearts, in our minds, in our bodies, to recognize the tremendous gift that God has given us in Jesus Christ. I preached a couple of years ago, well, quite a few years ago, a couple of times I've done this, particularly on Christmas Eve, but it's one I use at Easter as well. And that's a reminder that the greatest gift that the world has received, the greatest gift that any of us have received, is an empty box, an empty tomb. Our salvation is what we celebrate at Christmas. And that has indeed been won for each and every one of us. God bless. Amen.